Oh, baby, I'm ready. I'm ready for another day. And in fact, it might be a quite eventful day, at least some that we haven't seen in quite some time here. I can see some bullish engulfing dildos perhaps being in play, but it still is a long day left to go. We got 14 hours, 58 minutes, and 45 seconds left to go in this nice little 12th day of July. It's the third day of July, in fact. I'm a little bit early right there, but I see a lot of people in here. So I see a lot of familiar faces as well. I fucking love to see that, man. Alex Samani, good morning to you, man. Mario Mangione, definitely Italian for sure. Mr. Van Duysen. We even have Elsa. I guess that's kind of cool. The Italian Stallion, another Italian. Nice, good Italians. We like a lot of Italians. I grew up around a lot of Italians. Generally good people. Although one thing, this would be probably considered very racist, you know, in a normal world. But one thing that my dad told me when I was like really young that I don't know why I remembered, but I always remembered it. And he said, never trust an Italian with a tan. And then I got older and I realized what that means, because every Italian has a fucking tan. Look at Jason Pizzino. Kidding though. Great people, at least in my experience. Mr. Batu, Samuel Adams, definitely a president of some sort. Big Boy George, Ray, good morning to my man. Iceman, one of my favorite characters from Top Gun, of course. Crypto Grapple or crypto Grandpa. I think we also have a grandpa on here as well. Mr. Durian Rambutan, good morning to you, man. Fucking buy the dip. Who else we have? Mr. I Vape. We need some, or you can vape. I don't like vaping. Free Steven Artuni. Who else we got? Patrick Ocean. Oh my God, man. Yes, I love it. I'm supposed to be Luigi's brother. We've been playing a lot of Mario Kart recently, actually, and Luigi's the one funny motherfucker. I'll tell you that. You know what else was very funny? Last night, Elsa and myself, we always watch these random things, you know, before we go to bed, about an hour before we go to bed, starting around 8 p.m. And last night I just randomly came across this video, and it's a great showcase into like why New York is special, even though it is shit, but it is still a special place because special people go there. And it was actually really cool. There was this guy, I think he's a Twitch streamer, and he was doing live streams while he would be walking through the streets of New York City, but he had like this whole apparatus that allowed him to create music. He was really fucking good at it. So he would create these beats, right? And he has this humongous thing like attached to him, you know, with a keyboard and all sorts of different symbols and whatnot that allows him to actually create these beats through, you know, electronically. And then people would start rapping on top of them, just like random people. Well, maybe not random, like they knew that, you know, he was rapping or that he does these things. And Elsa, like watching this, she's like, oh my God, everyone in New York knows how to rap. I'm like, everyone's just such a good singer in New York. I'm like, no, these are not random people. Like this, these are like they have an understanding here. But yeah, really fucking cool actually. Just watch them go through that. How could you know? It's a crazy idea, but yeah, that's New York for you, man. Like people are just so intensely trying to do something that they, you know, they'll do something cool like that. I mean, that actually is, in my opinion, a cool thing, you know, that is particular to that area. But my God, man, really fucking impressed. If you ever have a chance and you got some free time and you happen to like the music as well, go for it. Do you vape, my crown? Actually, I do not vape. I don't really like vaping, man. I feel like it just fucks your throat, to be honest, man. Just shoves a nice big girthy red dildo down your throat. Not a big fan of that. He's incredible. Yeah, that's him. Ari at home. Yeah, Ari at home. Spence Hog knows. Yeah, man, that was fucking crazy. That was my first time seeing him, man. It was crazy. And like the people who came on to rap as well, like some of them were really good. It's just insane the amount of talent that's out there that are literal fucking, you know, homeless people. Like, but they're extremely talented. I mean, holy shit, man. Holy shit. Tommy Dickinson says hello from Phoenix, Arizona. Oh man, we actually have some family around Phoenix, Arizona. Good morning to you, man. How do you like Phoenix, Arizona? That's my question. I keep on getting so many people like trying to get us to go to Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know why, but apparently people love it. Yeah, man. No, I'm not a big. I don't like vaping. I haven't done that like basically ever. But you know, the few times that I did try were probably like 10, 15 years ago at this point. I love raging and raving to Crown's epileptic intro in the morning. Hell yeah, man. That's what we love. Free says having a vape right now with Tasmanian Botanicals Opal. Okay, a lot of marketing words in there. But yeah. Sounds good to me, man. James Cavill says, when I grow up, I want to be just as gay as you, Mr. Crown. Love you. Yes, I love you too. Now take off your pants. It's time to be gay as fuck. Yeah, that's right. Elsa has just said, that's impossible. I am the most gayest person alive. You can't beat me. I got you fucking won. And in this case, I was making some really good Twitter posts earlier. I made Ganjadolf and Boromon and Frodred. There's going to be Sam Weed. I'm working on him though. The AI is not making very good Sam Weeds right now. Crown, please. Diddy trial verdict daily and for. Actually, I did see that there was maybe somewhat of a verdict yesterday. I don't know if I don't know how accurate this is, but I think he was convicted on like a couple accounts, something like this. I don't know the fucking specifics of it anyways, but just watched a few videos, so I'm obviously an expert, and yeah, it looks pretty bad. When mini crown? Maybe soon. Who knows? Nobody knows. Let that nutsack swing. Actually, I've been taking HCG for a while now. My balls are very, very large, very painfully large. In fact, they are the size of, I mean, at this point, like a small fruit, a very small fruit, but you know, a fruit nonetheless. Why are you gay? Well, it's just the way that I am. Why am I gay? Why don't I just get asked by the man himself? Yes, I was born that way. I've told you this a million times. Do you think I'd choose to be like this? Like, fuck no, I hate myself. Anyways, before I commit suicide, I see a lot of people actually from Arizona, Chandler, Arizona. I think that's actually where my sister and my brother-in-law live. Sounds familiar, at least. I'm curious, how do you like it, though? Arizona is a state of hippies, too much people in Phoenix. Really? Arizona is a state of hippies? What? How? That does not make sense. That is not the picture that I have in my mind. But the neighboring metropolitan city, Tucson, is a great place to live. That's where I live now. Yeah, my grandparents lived in Tucson, I believe, way back when. It's a great place for old people. Reminds me of that South Park episode with the big balls. Mr. Big Balls. My sack is the size of 2 Cutie brand oranges. Actually quite big as well. Yeah, some blueberries. I got some blueberry action going on. That's what they were before. Now they're blackberries. Really good. Anonymous says, Crown, the fuck is up with Bonk today? I don't know, man. We'll look at some of these shitcoins, I guess. Might as well just take a quick peek right here, see what this one's doing. It looks to me like most things are bouncing, man. I mean, look, like we got most of the downside targets that we were looking for coming into end of June to beginning of July. Most of these things came down very close to their April lows. Some got all the way to their April low. Some, you know, like this one, you know, putting in a higher low. But all of them doing about the same thing at this point. So, you know, the ones that are putting in higher lows is going to be a little bit on the stronger side. But still, you know, have to respect the downtrend here. It's just these things can rally a decent amount more and still remain overall bearish. But, you know, if Bitcoin breaks through here, do I think it's really going to stop at like 113, 114? No, I think that Bitcoin's going to continue on until like 120 to 130-ish region. That's probably the next sort of, you know, basing point, I would imagine. And does that mean that alts are going to, you know, likely buck the trend here? Probably most of them, yeah. I mean, I could easily see some like Bonk taking out the May highs. It doesn't necessarily imply that it's going to make new all-time highs or anything like this, but, you know, it could, yeah, I mean, it, you know, in great conditions could get all the way up to 35,000, whatever the fucks, you know, something like that. I think this chart looks very similar to Solana, which probably tells you the, you know, the seriousness of it. In fact, yeah, you know, on this look right here for the past year, it is almost a one-to-one chart. And same thing, right? You know, Solana came back down close to those April lows, did not exceed those April lows. Yeah, I could have seen it going a little bit lower. That's fine. In this case, putting in a higher low, obviously a strong strength. And same thing on this one, man. I could easily see this thing back above $200, but that does not get it back to all-time highs. You know, I'm still looking at the higher term time frames is like not great here, to be honest, for a lot of the alts, but Bitcoin can make, you know, decently new all-time highs, and alts can put in, you know, 50% moves, and Bitcoin would be on new all-time highs, but alts would still be on lower highs for the overwhelming majority of them. What about SUI? SUI should be one of the better ones just because it is a newer shitcoin this cycle. Yeah, you know, putting in the higher low right here, maybe it rallies up to like 380, 390, maybe even $4. If it can take out the May highs, this one would be one of the few ones that I think can make a new all-time high. But for right now, you know, still within a holding pattern. So I guess not anything super interesting at this exact moment. And by the way, for the people who were posting in the weekly Q&A session for the YouTube members channel right here, I will answer these on this live stream, and I'll probably handle that going onwards and forwards. So if you are a member of this channel and you can't be present for the weekly live streams, you can just post in here and I'll pick it up during the live streams. I'm not going to do the standalone videos on the weekend any longer, just because, you know, I need that time to spend with other things at this point, and I don't really think that those videos are helping all that much anyways. You know, I have been gaining weight. Crown's ball. Whoa, holy shit, it's my balls. That's amazing, man. I never thought I'd see my balls in a chat room on YouTube, but here we are. This is great. Can you give me your ASL, sir? My balls have my own brains. This is how I feel when I see my balls, baby. That's right. I fucking love it, man. I fucking love it. Soon enough, we have the soon enough, we have the soundboard coming back, but still, I think about a month away, maybe a little bit more than a month away, but it's coming. I cannot, oh man, I'm so excited for the things to come in the next like couple months. Oh, I'm so excited, man. I'm excited to get back into a little bit more intense streaming, man, but having some fun with that. Are you rich yet? Says, I want to record my daily quantum band progress for YouTube. Any suggestions? I mean, the simplest thing is to just start a channel and just stream your trades there. I mean, obviously it's like not like super ideal for us because you're just basically giving away the fucking signals, you know, for free, but we can't stop you at the end of the day. So what I would say is at the very least, put in a link to the quantum wave band service, and you can actually get an affiliate fee with that. You can set it up all through Teachable. If you need help, just send me an email or send Else an email, but it's pretty easy to do. You can, you know, you can basically do it yourself. And I think you'll get like 20 or 25% referral fees if you want to do something like that, man. But yeah, I'd heavily request at least you do that if you are going to, you know, give away the fucking signals for free. Because like I said, we actually can't really stop you, to be honest. So it's impossible to try. It's impossible to try. But yeah, just as a quick show then, on that note, anyone can try out the quantum wave bands for free or any of our offerings, except for the actual educational programs, with no code needed. You just need to go into the Teachable link in the description below, and you can get 7 days free trial. You can try them out, see what it's like, see if it's for you, see if it's not for you. Of course, this is only available to new users. If you're an old user, then don't fucking scam it, because we will come after you, and Else will come after you intensely. Anyways, okay, I think it's time to get in some actual price action analysis for Bitcoin here. It's just really a continuation of the I mean, of this past couple weeks, or I guess 3 weeks, going on 3 weeks now. So yeah. Okay. Let me bring up Bitcoin right here. I might as well record it. I don't know if I'll actually post this video. Maybe make a shorts video out of it later. We shall see. What are you going to play? Oh, man. Yeah, I probably will start to do some gaming streams again. I really did miss that. It's got to be Total War, man. But they need to make Medieval 3. They need to make Medieval 3. Once it... We could play Mario Kart, but we need a capture card for that one, which we can definitely do. Like, I can get another streaming PC, no problem. All right. Code GAY for TA for discounts. Actually, you don't even need a discount, or there are no active discounts right now. Next discounted period will be for my birthday, actually, on... Oh, should we do one for 4th of July? Oh, shit. Tomorrow's 4th of July. All right. You know what? We'll do like a very quick one for 4th of July starting tomorrow. But then after that, it's just going to be my birthday. But like a small one, like less than a week for this next one. All right. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. In yesterday's video, we spoke about multiple setups pertaining to Bitcoin, which have now met their fruitional gains. And I want to bring you back to the MetaSignal setup over here. If we go to the 2-hour time frame setup, which fired off at $101,000 US, this one has now hit officially all 3 targets, even the low probability target number 3 at just over 34%. That one has been now exceeded with flying colors. In fact, Bitcoin's trading above it as of this exact very moment. That was 109,262. So for anyone who did take this trade or who saw on MetaSignal's Twitter account, congratulations, and there is no target number 4, or at least, for target number 4, you're on your own at the end of the day. And of course, that one can now bleed into the hourly setup that fired off yesterday. That one fired off at $106,140, and target number 1, target number 2, both have been hit and exceeded with flying colors at this point. Target number 3, again, much lower probability at just under 32.5% probability, is going to be showing a price of $110,769. So again, low probability, but it is shaping up for Bitcoin to, make a real attempt for this, especially when we saw the other setup, the 2-hour time frame setup already hit target number 3. This one, I do think has a higher probability just based off of that. Now, on top of all of this, we can go back to the 2-day time frame from yesterday's video. Bitcoin is still working on what would be called a regression channel or a falling channel, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and is going to be resolving it today, meaning that, or potentially today, assuming that one major condition is met. But as it stands right now, on the 2-day time frame, which closes tonight in 14 hours, 44 minutes, and 30 seconds and counting, we can see that it is having a real potential to be one massive bullish engulfing dildo, and it will be confirmed if it does close anywhere above. I think this was Monday's high, which is officially on CME 109,565. For spot price action, that same number would be 108,795. And if Bitcoin does do that, not only will it have a bullish engulfing dildo, but it will also be closing above that last 2-day high and resolving this regression channel to the upside, meaning that we actually do have an implied target to be made here. And this is going to be somewhere around about 120,000 bucks. So if Bitcoin again closes above that very specific number tonight for the 2-day time frame closure, I would say that, hey, yeah, Bitcoin's on a mission towards 120. Does it make stops along the way? Sure. Do we have a time frame for how long that it takes to get there? No. But ultimately, I'd be looking further north, and I think Bitcoin is generally getting ready for that move overall, especially with a holiday weekend coming up tomorrow. A lot of the time markets just kind of like to float up during these times, and we already saw traditional markets make new all-time highs, and on top of traditional markets making new all-time highs, we saw a quarterly bullish engulfing dildo on NASDAQ futures, which typically trades in lockstep with Bitcoin. So this one making new all-time highs plus a bullish engulfing on such a higher term time frame like this, I do think bodes well for Bitcoin following through it here too, meaning that we already got the pullback that we were looking for in early July, and it's just a 2-day pullback, and Bitcoin looking like it wants to take another leg up. On top of all of this, we can see that the 2-day time frame is also potentially going to put in some hidden bullish divergence on caretaker's RSI right here. And on top of that, we can go ahead and look at stochastic momentum, and we can see that stochastic momentum will also be pointed to the north side, assuming today finishes the day above 103,660. The daily time frame will also remain to the upside as long as Bitcoin's above 108. The 3-day time frame is also freshly up above 102,545. The 5-day time frame is also going to be up as long as Bitcoin's above 110,200, which it's actually not above right now. So it's got about 1.5 days left to do that. So by Friday's closure, if Bitcoin's above that number, then you're going to see the 2-day, the daily, 2-day, 3-day, and 5-day all on the same side in terms of momentum, with Bitcoin assumedly on or around new all-time highs. That is a damn good setup for a real continuation play here. When we look at the 5-day time frame, I want to really acknowledge that the 5-day BBWP representing volatility is extreme lows here. It is in single-digit percentiles. It's at 2.78 as of right now. Yes, it can base here for a while longer, but I think with the way that things are setting up right now, there is a legitimate possibility and a probability that Bitcoin does resolve this to the upside. And this is one of those quick ones that's just kind of a touch and go, like we saw back on over here from October 2023 before the big move of that cycle, and again in late January of 2024. On top of that, the 2-day time frame has been basing off on extreme lows for a very long time. And again, if you've been on this channel for a while, I haven't spoken about this, in probably 6 months or so now, but the 2-day and the 5-day time frame, when those things are aligning with each other in terms of BBWP and momentum represented by the stochastic oscillator, that's when you typically get, some pretty glorious moves, with a high probability in that direction. So both of these would be favoring the upside as of right now with those pivots in mind. But I would also say on the other side that while I am biased towards Bitcoin continuing to the upside here, I do think that if Bitcoin, assuming that Bitcoin does continue here, the next major high is not that far away. Maybe it's even a macro high. And I think that's going to come somewhere between 120 to 130, just kind of spitballing things, before they happen. But that's a topic for another video, and we're still well far away from there. So it's just time to enjoy the green dildos, Mon. Listen to Ganjadolf. He's giving you the green dildos. Listen to Frodred. He also has the green dildos. And listen to Boromon. He also will be giving you some green dildos if you just be patient. And on top of all of this, we should go ahead and check out some daily price statistics. I do want to acknowledge again the average returns range here, and that one, this just generally plays out really well, especially during these low volatility periods. And as of right now, if we're looking at the average returns, the bottom side of today's sort of range, let's say, would be about 107. The top side would be 111. So obviously, Bitcoin does go to the top side of the average returns for the positive side. That is going to naturally imply a breakout alongside several of the other things. Now, to be fair, Thursday slightly in favor of negative closures over positive closures since this bull market began. So yeah, I mean, it's not really giving us much of an edge there. Again, Monday is the most likely day to close positively, with Wednesday being the highest positive returns day. So I suppose, doesn't make sense for things to break out today. A little bit less so, I guess. So that's a bit of a counterpoint, but maybe we're waiting around until Monday. Remember, it is a holiday weekend coming up here. And then I think on top of all of this, I forgot to mention the HPDR here, the herpaderp, and the 10-day time frame, which is something that I haven't shown too much on stream, just because it really doesn't update all that often. I was just kind of perusing around early this morning, and I realized that the 10-day time frame is using the median as a basing here after reclaiming the median. This was all the way back in beginning of May, by the way. And, you know, if we're looking at this as a guide and sort of a general area of interest, well, that's given us a range between the median, which is 106.1, and the top side of at least the 38.2 level, which is 131. So that's why I do say on a continuation move to new all-time highs, you know, Bitcoin could spike 120 to 130 coming up in this next month or two of price action. So we shall see, time shall tell, but I'll end things on that note. Or do we actually have anything else? Maybe let's take a quick look at the quantum wave bounds. Haven't looked at them in a couple of days. Let's see what they're doing. They struggled a little bit, definitely at the end of June. Let's see if they're making up for some of those gains, because that's what we like to see. But okay, a small loss right here, small gain right here, small gain right here. It actually opened up another trade recently right here. That one would have my stomach turning right now, but fair enough, you know. Anyways, we shall end things on that note. As always, if you want access to these indicators or scripts, you can check them out for free for 7 days in the link in the description below for Teachable. And other than that, I will shut things off right there, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. All right, lovely, lovely, lovely. Mr. Van Duysen says, please do some. Oh man, oh my God, yes. Fuck yeah, dude. Oh my God, I love that game. It is amazing. I'm a true medieval nerd, and so just, you know, romping around in that game is so good. Like, it really is so good. That game is so good that it makes people who generally don't like those types of games like those types of games. Like one of my friends, Faraz, like he is not into that kind of shit, but he respects it. He's like, damn, this is like a top tier game for real. Don't say herp and dirt, please. It makes me itch. All right, so here we go. Actually, so like I said, guys, I'm going to start off this stream just by answering the weekly Q&A questions from the YouTube members group. Then we'll go through the super chats, and then we'll go through regular chats. You know, I have plenty of time today, so no issues there. Anyways, we'll start it off with Mr. Peppy 34420, great number. He says, can you explain the difference between bullish and hidden bullish divergence? Let me actually record this one. Can you explain the difference between bullish and hidden bullish divergence? Or actually, okay, you know, I will start it on the actual recording. Let's go over here. Okay, so I should say right at the outset, when it comes to divergences, look, in my programs where we actually go over like how to identify a divergence and play divergence, these are like 20 to 30 minute long videos. So I'm not going to get through all of this on, of course, a stream right here. And I want to make this explanation like relatively simple, but we shall record it right here. I can't even fucking speak. What is the difference between regular bullish divergence and hidden bullish divergence? Or we could also use bearish divergences as well, but we'll focus on bullish divergence here. Bullish divergence is when you have a divergence between a momentum oscillator and price. In this case, for regular bullish divergence, we see our momentum oscillator making higher lows with price action making lower lows, which if I can find an example, that would be perhaps right here where the price was making a lower low and the RSI oscillator made a higher low. Sorry, actually, that one does not work out. No, it did make a lower low right there. All right, let's go to a different time frame. I want to find an example with this one that'll make it that'll help hammer in the point. Okay, here we go. Perfect. And then let's see. Okay, yeah, perfect and perfect. Okay, beautiful. Okay. What is the difference between fuck me, man. What is the difference between a fucking moron who can't speak and a divergence derp? Got to get my creatine water in. What is the difference between regular bullish divergence and hidden bullish divergence? Well, regular bullish divergence implies that there is a divergence between a momentum oscillator, typically the RSI, and price action, with price action making a lower low, similar to what you see exactly right here on these two lows, with the RSI oscillator making higher lows. And by the way, this indicator right here, caretaker's RSI, will do that algorithmically defined for you. And on the other side, hidden bullish divergence is a divergence that is only on the same side of the current trend, meaning that you are looking for higher lows within the context of an uptrend, with the RSI oscillator making lower lows. And in this case, we have another example right here. We have low number one low number 2, we have RSI low number 1, and then the next low right here, which is a lower low, is going to be the confirmation of your hidden bullish divergence. Now, for all of these, you can just flip them around for regular bearish divergence and in hidden bearish divergence, but ultimately these are just telling you about a quite literally divergence between momentum and price, and thus you can typically gain some edge with looking for price to follow through in that direction. Nice. Okay, so very, very simplistic explanation right there. I wanted to record that because I'll upload that as a what's it called, a shorts video later on. But yeah, it's just a divergence of momentum versus price. So when you get lower lows on price with higher lows on your RSI, that's going to be hidden, or that's going to be regular bullish divergence. And when you get higher lows on price with lower lows on the RSI, that is when you get, of course, hidden bullish divergence. And for bearish divergence, it's just the opposite. You can flip that around. That is when you get higher highs on price with lower highs on the RSI, like you see right here. And then, of course, hidden bearish divergence will only be seen ever within a downtrend, like we see right here. And that's when you have lower highs alongside on price, alongside higher highs on the RSI. So yeah, again, a very, very quick explanation right there. But like I said, this is a 20 to 30 minute long topic in the in the educational program, which, by the way, I'm doing a massive, massive overhaul. In fact, I honestly have finished the overhaul, but I haven't put it live yet because I haven't actually done the promo part. So I'll figure that out. Otherwise, it would look pretty fucking weird. It's like, what is this? But I think I've actually more than doubled the content now in the Trade Like a Quant program. It's going to get renamed and everything. I'm quite excited about it, but you know, looking for the right time. And again, I still have to do one couple last things. Anyways, moving on, we have Autobot 3B5 says, hope all is well, Crown. With the Fib time extension, can you talk about your predictions into the next Fib time extension? Yeah, so I think this person is referencing this chart that I was looking at. This was maybe more so in May. Yeah, and I mean, it was about right here, calling some sideways action after this upside move. Okay, so I would say that this one actually did work out again. The next date of relevance here is going to be around the 9th of August. You can see it's not perfect, by the way. It's obviously not perfect. You know, it's usually around highs and then around lows. So does this one, you know, get the exact date on the next major high or major low? It's probably not going to be the exact date, but you can assume that the overwhelming majority of whatever move you've seen up until that date is likely over. So, you know, if we're looking out basically a month from now, you know, can we expect Bitcoin to be generally up for that month or generally down for that month? Well, I guess we'll have clarity on that situation later today, if Bitcoin breaks out or not. If Bitcoin breaks out, you know, yeah, I guess you're probably in for just a general rally into, you know, beginning of August. So something to keep an eye on, but again, it's not going to be exact. And yeah, that would be the next date of interest there. Anyways, actually, that would be a good video record as well. All right. Yeah. And then you asked, what is the next Fib after August? I don't have one on there. I'd have to introduce a new, new number here, and I'm running out of space already. So I don't know, maybe we flip this one around. We can make this one, that would be your 4. So that's technically your next one. Then we do 4 spot 3A2. This would be the next big one as well. So that puts us out until January 1st of 2026, and then 4382 puts us out end of May of 2026. So it's, you know, it's too far away to really care about, to be honest. Yeah. All right. What else we got here? It's Asti. She says NNE and NPPTF and Neptune Digital Assets Corporation. Sounds legit, but well, actually not so bad here. Probably one of the better trusts we're going to even see today as well. In fact, perhaps a good example of hidden bullish divergence. You got lower lows on the weekly RSI and potentially higher lows right here. Just needs to trade back above last week's high. And at that point, you're probably looking for this thing to extend back around about $1.50. When I go to the monthly, I don't feel as confident with that, but that's why it's contingent upon clearing last week's high and closing above last week's high. Until then, there is still, you know, legitimate possibility of another retest around 85 cents or so. Let's see. I'll only do one for these just because we're doing this one live. Arms Private looking at XRP. I know definitely people are going to be interested in XRP as usual. And we'll go over here and XRP, same sort of potential hidden bullish divergence actually on the weekly time frame. Just needs to finish the week basically here or higher. And at that point, I'd be looking for next week or the week after that to get somewhere around 245-ish, you know, give or take a little bit from that number. I do think this move is happening sooner rather than later with volatility looking like that. Monthly monthly time frame continues to hold above the red 5 EMA. So, you know, I can't be bearish until it actually loses that number. It did hit our corrective targets to the downside as well, down around 190. That was about a week ago. So yeah, I think that's probably it, or at least next move is going to be to the upside. Moving on, we got Stefan Milosevic. He says, I might get flamed for the flamed. Okay. All right. Let's see what it is. I might get flamed for this because I know it's not its intended purpose, but for as good as the 1 hour quantum wave bands is, it seems to know exactly when to exit very well. If you enter a short position when it signals to exit and hold 1 to 10 hours after, it's been profitable the last couple months. Is there a way to backtest this or create? Yeah, we could backtest it with the skeleton key. You know, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, you could set up that backtest with the skeleton key. It's going to be a little bit complicated with setting up the entry conditions, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do it. I'm just saying it off the top of my head right now. I'm trying to think of reasons why you wouldn't be able to do it, and it should be possible, I would assume. You can obviously check it out and try it out for free, the Quant Prime service, and set it up for yourself. It'll also give you access, of course, to our private Discord, and you know you can ask the pros in there, you know, how to set that up. But yeah, off the top of my head, I don't think you're going to have an issue with that. And but the problem is your exit, because it's so wide here, you're looking to hold the trade for 1 to 10 bars. You can definitely set up a condition that will exit you after a certain amount of bars, but 1 to 10 doesn't really, I mean, it's like basically you end it almost immediately, or you wait like half of a day. So that part's going to be difficult. Maybe you would take profit by percentage instead. I think that might be the better way of handling that. And then we got base 4267. He says PG stock daily weekly. Got it, man. PG stock, Procter & Gamble. Okay. Daily and weekly. Let's start high, finish low. And another one that, is somewhat putting in a bit of a higher low right here. It's definitely not the strongest stock. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not the strongest in the short term. I mean, it just hasn't had the same sort of recovery from the April dump that most things have. If I'm looking at this one, man, I'm thinking down, to be honest with you. I'm thinking this one comes back down to 150. Yeah, look, I know you didn't ask about these very high-term timeframes, but I think that this thing is going to see 150-ish sometime in the next 3 months. It should bounce there. In the short term, does it try a rally first? Perhaps yes. Maybe back up to like 165, 164 region. But have to treat it as bearish as long as you're below the last trending lower high, which is May 30th. So yeah, I'd be on the other side of that, to be honest with you. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got now. Elsa has already compiled all of the tweets, or not the tweets, the comments for me. Let's see what she got. Of course, Steven Schickman is first. He's looking at Doggy coin over here, and weekly and monthly. Let's see what I haven't even looked at this one on a monthly since a new month open. What about a quarterly? Yeah, not terrible quarterly close here. I do think that this is going to act as a low. So I think that things are done going lower for most alts for the next 3 months. But if I'm going to be wrong on that one, I'm going to be epically wrong. Let's maybe go over here. I want to see something that's obvious, and I'm not getting it from that chart just yet. No, I'm not getting anything super obvious here as well. I don't like that. What about the quarterly? Quarterly's 14 cents pivot. So I guess can be looked at as, okay, so it did come down to the April lows. We did say that was likely, and it's bounced from those April lows. I think that still has more to go on. Even if you're super bearish, I think this thing will at least get like 18 cents plus. Technically, you're not bullish until you reclaim the May highs. That's at 26 cents, but I think you should probably know a lot sooner before then. Yeah, I think that this next move is very likely to the upside. I think 18 to 20 cents, probably closer to 20 cents at minimum. Again, you're getting a bounce close to that April low off of the 200 simple. You're in that same sort of falling channel right here as well. I do think that this thing is likely to trade back up into the 20s, just to be very, very clear with you. Ethereum, you're looking at Ethereum daily, weekly, monthly as well. Nice reclaim on Ethereum, or I mean, it's still got another 3.5 days to go, but so far so good. Same with the monthly, same with the quarterly. So I'm looking at these as generally good, generally pointed back up. Again, north of $3,000. Looking at the quarterly, you do have a nice formation going on here. I just don't think it's mature enough to indicate a breakout or a breakdown anytime soon. I could just as easily see Ethereum come back down to like 2,100 and bounce as I can see it go up to 3,350 and pull back. Either which way, I still think it's generally range bound here. If I had to choose a direction in the more short term, it would actually be to the upside, and I'll tell you why. Ethereum is very, very close to doing something that it has not done in over a year, which is see the monthly stochastic momentum oscillator cross the upside, also playing out what would effectively be a trendline regression test over here. And this one will officially cross back onto the upside if Ethereum does close this month, which just began, to be fair. I mean, so this is very, very early, but it must close a month above 2,100, which, I would probably be betting on as of right now. So yeah, as far as Ethereum goes, I think next move is likely to the upside, likely above 3,000, but, it's been taking its time. I'm not saying it's going to overperform or anything like this, but, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? Anyways, we got Cartman's BTC is looking at Coinbase. Coinbase, I already know, I have it here. And Coinbase did indeed confirm its quarterly bullish engulfing dildo. So I look at that as very, 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 very good for the long term. Doesn't necessarily mean that the short term is going to be straight up, although the short term has been mostly up. Looks like it's setting another higher low right here. In fact, I'd say on the daily time frame, yesterday's low is not yesterday's, but Tuesday's low is a good management point, meaning that as long as you're above 333.99, direction is up. If you do lose that number, then I think that this thing's coming back down to 300-ish region, maybe a little bit lower than that, but I think that this thing's a lot more likely to see more upside than not. And even the monthly stochastic oscillator is getting its first cross the upside since May of 2024. So more than a year ago, assuming it can remain above 271, which is even lower than the 5 EMA on the monthly. So it could come down there, reconnect, and continue up, and momentum would still remain to the upside. Yeah, I generally would be looking to the upside, man. Cartman's BTC is also looking at Tesla. Okay, Tesla. I'll just type it in. I have it on my other list, but I don't want to go to the other list right now because it fucks with my flows. Tesla, very much news and event driven right now, just because of Elon Musk's public feud with Trump, which is like, it almost makes me think that the whole thing is staged, because these people are not dumb people. Like, they obviously know the optics of what the hell they're doing. But anyways, that's a topic for maybe another channel, or maybe not even any channel at all. No one should be talking about this shit. Who the fuck cares? Anyways, Tesla, I still have to be biased towards the upside here, just based off technicals, very high term timeframes, quarterly momentum back onto the upside for the first time in a very long time above 211, holding on to all major moving averages. If this thing even just trades above 367, I think you're going to see 400 plus, probably new highs this year, if that happens. In the short term, again, Tuesday's low is a good management point. As long as you're above there, you still got a higher low. Below there, I think that this thing does come back down sub 300, closer to 270-ish region. We'll come back to it after that if it does. So yeah. Is it a good time to buy? I don't know your fucking timeframes. I don't know how long you're looking to hold this. I don't know if you're trading or if you're investing for a long term. I have no idea, so I can never give you a good answer. And of course, I'm also not a financial advisor, so for fuck's sake, man. Anyways, Stefan Milicevic says, GM, good sir, your thoughts on Fibo's minimum target of 209,000 this cycle. Curious on your thoughts and probability of it. It's not my first target, that's for sure. I'm not going to be fucking mad if Bitcoin gets to 200 plus. Like, that'd be great. But I do think personally, I think it's rather unlikely. That's just my opinion, man. That's just my opinion. I'm happy to be wrong on that. I don't look that far out. I don't do that sort of like super far out sort of like analysis that Fibo does. He's the master of that. I am not. I don't specialize in that. I don't practice that. But if I'm just looking at it right here, I think somewhere between like 140 to 160 is best case scenario, at least for me in this cycle. Again, I'm happy to be wrong on this. Like, I'm not fucking, it's not like I'm selling my coins there anywhere or anyways. At this point, the more and more cycles that I've been through, I just hold. Like, I don't care even if it does top out there. Maybe I play some options, sure, but that's a different game. Anyways, if it were to reclaim the median, then I would say he has a really good case for 200 plus. In this case, the 38.2 level as of right now, which it will change obviously as we get a new month. That's at 236. So 236,000. So, you know, if that happens, then I would join Fibo, and I would say, yeah, at least 200, you know, probably going higher. But yeah, you know, not my forte. And I can be massively wrong about that. And I'd be very happy to be wrong on it as well, just so you know. All right, Crypto Shard says, nice name. Please, sir, when lobotomy? I think it's lobotomy, but maybe we need some lobotomies. Pour some syrup on me daily. Yeah. So this one is a new one. I remember it. And new ones during this part of the cycle, I think, are the best things to be getting into if you want to play shitcoin roulette. And yeah, this one, I mean, generally just having a nice little uptrend here. There's not a ton of history to be going off of, but look, the trend is your friend. Wednesday's low is your next higher low. As long as you're above there, just follow the trend. This thing, you know, probably retest the highs. Looking at momentum, we can see that daily time frame is about to confirm another drive of hidden bullish divergence, assuming it closes the day out here or higher. So if that happens, yeah, probably another retest of your highs, probably new all-time highs as well. If you're looking at the upwards sloping trend line price action pivot here, that would be coming up at around 70, deep 70s to low 80s. So yeah. Not bad. Again, if you're going to play shitcoin relay, these are the ones, in my opinion, that are best to do right now, with Bitcoin effectively making new all-time highs that have, you know, that do not have the history that most of these things do, which is just going down. This thing has a history of just going sideways and up, which we like. Anyways, Pisa114 says, GM, you know which one I really think honestly is going to do well here? And look, I have no affiliation with this project or anything like this, but, and yes, he is my friend, but I want to bring a little bit of awareness to it just because, well, I honestly do think it's probably going to do quite well. Elio Trades and Alex Becker's new project, I think it's called Black Hole. I think that they're timing this thing like absolutely fucking perfectly. And look, I don't know Alex Becker, but I do know Elliot, and I know that he's very well aware of the timing of these sort of things. You know, these sort of ones that are releasing soon while Bitcoin is in new all-time high territory, those are the ones that I think can do really, really, really well, or at least those are the ones most likely to do well. No promises, as always. Pisa says XRP. We already did XRP, so all good there. Mr. Nick A says, still any validity to the hash ribbons indicator? I mean, it hasn't been invalidated, if that's what you're asking. I always get these questions with the hash ribbons indicator. It's like, the reason why I don't talk about it often is because you don't get signals on it super often. Yeah, there was a capitulation event recently. Again, capitulation events don't mean anything for us. It's all about the blue buy signal, and at some point it will fire off a new, another blue buy signal. But I don't have the. Actually, can I get my forecast tool up on there? Let's see. I think it's this one. Let's check it out. Yeah, it's not even going to give me a projection for the next blue buy signal, but we already saw one kind of somewhat recently. This was back in May 21st. So the most recent low compared to that would be all the way down at like $94,000. So yeah, if this one fires off over here, then the next most important low is going to be that June low at 100, or just below 100, I should say. So, we get to march that up, but, it's probably very far away from actually even confirming another blue buy signal. So we'll see. Just like I said, doesn't really update too often, so I don't really have a reason to talk about it too often. Ray now says, good morning, Crown. What's up, man? Hope you're doing really well. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that nice positive message. I hope you're doing well as well, sir. I'm looking at Eternal Indian stock. Okay, I'm glad that you specified it is an Indian stock, because I wouldn't have guessed that. Okay, here we go on NSE, and you are looking at daily, weekly, monthly. All good, man. Yeah, so I think the obvious thing here is that this thing is flipping into an uptrend, so we like that. Weekly time frame is just grinding sideways and up. We like that as well. Where is your next sort of major pivot to be aware of for the weekly? That would be effectively where you're at right now at 262. If you can close this week out tomorrow, Friday, above 262, I'd say, hey, this thing is resolved. You're probably going to see a move somewhere between $290 to $300. Maybe it just goes for new all-time highs from there. Yeah, and if it does correct first and have some short-term downside price action, 250 is the obvious area for a bit of a bounce. If it fails there, then probably coming all the way down to like 220. But I favor the upside here for most of these things. Fucking by the dip says, stinky linky 4-hour daily weekly, please. Got it, man. I know you like the links, sir. This one also kind of holding it. Very similar chart to Dogecoin and a couple other ones that we saw earlier today. It is reclaiming both the 200 simple and the 5 EMA on the weekly time frame. So, I do think that this one will very likely follow through. Yes, you are within the context of some sort of a fucked up pattern right here as well, a falling channel. If it does confirm at the end of this week above, let's call it 14 and a quarter, would look really good to me. I do think you're at least going to get back up to 18 bucks. And the second that you trade above 18 bucks, I think that you extend that target to, 21 and a half, 22 bucks, something like that. That would be your technical target, to be fair. But yeah, not really strong on its own, but similar to Dogecoin, I don't think it's going to break down from here, or at least, more likely to try a greater bounce here. Cool. Old Green God says, how's Euler doing? I still have this one on my list, although I've never touched it. Really good, man. Really, really good. We call this one out as one of the better shitcoins. This was like a month ago when someone brought it up. I don't know if it was you, maybe it's someone else, but yeah, I mean, a bi-weekly bullish engulfing dildo. I mean, shit, it's probably also a weekly bullish engulfing dildo, or it was a weekly bullish engulfing dildo on hidden bullish divergence on what is effectively a range breakout. I think you see this move tag the top side of the price action pivots extension here at 12 and a half bucks. How long does that take to happen? I don't fucking know, but it's generally what I'd be looking for on something like this. I'd only really invalidate that and get bearish isn't the right word, but looking for some downside price action. If it comes back down below yesterday's low at that point, probably going to see like 9 and a quarter, 9 and a half, and come back to it after them. But yeah. Cool. Freddie M says, IREN on the weekly $30 soon, question mark. How high could it go? Well, how high could it go is always infinity. It's just a very low probability. Very close to initiating like a real breakout here on the monthly. In fact, it did make a new high here. Technically, you want to see it close above about 1590. Maybe if you do that on a weekly, that's good enough. I'd say 1595 on a weekly closure would do it for me. At that point, 18 and a half to 20 bucks is where I'd be looking towards. Maybe it even just goes on from there. Who knows? That's your, oh shit, you're looking at $30. Look, no, that's not my first fucking target, man. I do think around $20 is reasonable if you get that break. Yes, it can continue for more, but you're looking for the home run when the double or triple is right in front of your face. It's lower probability, obviously. Doesn't mean it can't happen. It's just, I think you're being too greedy there to shoot you straight. That's just me though. That's just my personality. That's just my preference. TN says Cardano on the monthly. Okay, let's see what Cardurpio is doing. Last time we looked at this one, we said probably back down to like 50 cents or so. And yes, it did get down to 51 cents. Okay, so not bad. Technically it still has these declining highs here. And so I should be bearish on this thing, but with the way that most things are looking, and especially Bitcoin, breaks out above its current highs here. Do I think that this one's going to stop at like 65 cents? Probably not. Probably gets another free ride back around 75 to 80 cents. But, I should be bearish on it as long as you're below the May highs. Yeah, I mean, I should be bearish on it as long as you're below the May highs, but do I think it's going to play out like that if Bitcoin breaks you? Probably not. It should put in a greater rally, but yeah. The most obvious way to get like super bearish for the next breakdown is with any sort of a weekly closure below 51 cents now. At that point, you're looking for just market down like another 40 to 50%. Wouldn't surprise me because Cardano is Cardano after all, but with the way the market is looking, I don't think it's still wisest to be on that side of things. We already got our correction here as well. Just let it do its thing, I suppose. Just not one of the strongest shitcoins that we've seen today, that's for sure. Dr. Checkmate says XBI EFT. Actually, this is one of the few ETFs that I do own. It's biotech ETF. You're looking at the daily and the weekly. I know you didn't ask about the monthly, but I just want to see where it's at. Yeah, the trading, the monthly shows the real trading range here. Something like this, with your highs at 106 and a half, 107, your lows, basically the 200 simple sloping up at 67, 68. I do think your next move is to the upside, probably does pop back up to 90 bucks, but it's not really doing much here, man. It's just going sideways. So, I think it gets back up here and then probably comes back down, just continues on with this general range. I don't think it's doing nothing super interesting here, to be honest, man. Quarterly, yeah, good bounce off of the low end of the range. Just, I don't think it's ready to break out to the upside here. So yeah. Light Forexes says APU versus wrapped derptherium. Okay. I'll bite. APUWETH. What the fuck? Really, well, I guess it's not that new, but yeah, I don't like shitcoins that do shit like this that have been around for most of the cycle already. It's already down 90%, man. Like, look, it might have a nice bounce here with everything else, but I don't think it's going to be, the one that outpaces anything in a meaningful manner. technically should treat this one as bearish as long as you're below the May highs. I think that it actually probably does retest that May high and probably even trades a little bit higher. And I think it ends up being a failed breakout, just to, again, shoot you straight, man. But yeah, in the short term, would I be more biased towards upside? Yeah, probably somewhere back around here. Something like that, man. Fucking by the dip says maple syrup, please. Nice. We already got that one, so all good. I don't even know the question for it. All good, man. We already got that one a couple of times, but I see you also posted dog Bitcoin. Dog Bitcoin. Like this. Dog Bitcoin. I'm looking for. This one's such a hard one to do because it thinks you want doggy coin, but it's not. I guess it's this thing right here. I don't have an opinion on this chart, man. It's too new. If I had to call it, it's going to be up. There's a higher low, probably pops back up to like 0.5 cent. But I would not stand by this analysis in any way, shape, or form. So yeah. We have Light Forex is again. He's looking at NASDAQ 420. Oh god. This one better be good. Okay. No. I mean, I do think it's going to go up here. Probably gets another test around 0.3 cent or so. But look, this thing's done for the cycle. Like, you're not going to see anywhere above those January highs probably ever again, to be honest with you. Do I think if let's say this market took the most bullish twist and turn here, I think best case scenario you get back up to like 0.7 cent, maybe even 0.8 cent. But yeah, man. These are examples of bad new shit coins. This one's been around for just under a year, but it doesn't have the good history that we've seen on some of the other ones. Just my opinion, man. Again, doesn't mean it can't bounce and have big moves to the upside, but in terms of outpacing other things, I don't think this is the one, man. FB Crypto says, "Hey sir, what's up, man? Please kindly check TAOBOT. Okay, it's a new one. It's always new ones, I guess. I don't think it's that interesting, but definitely a better chart than the last one, man. If you are bullish, if you want to be bullish here, like I understand it. I mean, the price action pivots are already kind of telling you got your top side boundary here, whatever the hell this ungodly number is, and then you got your upward sloping boundary right here governing higher lows. Basically at around your mid-June lows. So as long as you're above there, I mean, this technically is an uptrend, and it would be a reaccumulation formation. Does it end up look something like this? Like, that would be your bullish view. But the second it starts to really come back down below this low here, that's big problem city time. So until then, I think copium is okay. The second that you lose that level is when it goes lights out, and then it's very, very dark. But yeah, I don't really have a strong opinion on this one other than that. Even in the short term, I don't really have a strong opinion, to be honest with you, on this one. Kind of a weird one, kind of a very weird one, to be honest. Arib says EL on the 1 week, 2 week, and monthly. Okay, interesting time frames there. EL, is this a crypto or it's either Estee Lauder or Elysia. It's probably this crypto amazing project here. It's probably not, because that price is significantly lower. So maybe it is this thing. Yeah, this looks like, well, okay. So you're asking, when is it going to go to 120 to 150? Okay. So you are bullish in a 3-year long downtrend, while everything else in their mother in the whole stock market and cryptocurrency land went up multiple X's. You are down during that time frame. Only 76%. I mean, it's not that bad. Look, man, you're asking me if I think it's going to reverse the trend here. I have no reason to believe that it is going to reverse the trend. Do I think it can go more up from here? Yeah, maybe $100, maybe 120 if things get really crazy, but that's a 50% move. So unless you got insider information that this thing is going to actually, I don't know, something's changed on this thing, I'd say, you're committing some sins here from the trading world. But when I look at, God damn it, there's hairs in my mouth. Like, there's fucking hairs in my mouth. Anyways, the monthly time frame. I mean, look, it has been straight down basically for the last 3 years. Yes, you've seen monthly volatility extremes here as well. It probably, and you even see bullish divergence as well. It probably does at least get to $100, maybe even 120 to. I guess it actually could get to 120 to 130, but I think if you're looking for that 150 target, that's going to be very, very, very far down the road if it even happens at all. Because when things fall like this, they don't usually go straight up after that, like this. They usually spend some time doing this for, an equal amount of time. So for like another 2 to 3 years. Yeah, man. Just my opinion. Cameron Maltby says ENAUSD. Okay, ENA. This is Ethereum name service. Yes, I need my Ethereum. Or no, this is wait, ENA. Oh, ENA. This is Ethna. This is Arthur Haynes' baby. Okay, let's just look at this chart right here. Daily, weekly. Definitely don't like it compared to most other things. This one's still making lower lows, and you do have potential for regular bullish divergence on the weekly time frame, but it must close above, let's call it 30 cents. If it can do that, then I think that you get a pretty decent move somewhere to 40 cents, which is, I mean, that's like a fucking 30% move from 30 cents, like this big. But it's, for me, it's hard. It's hard to love here. Just to be very, very blunt. Do I think you can get a decent rally? Yes, like I said, but it's not my first choice. I guess if you could trade back above 50 cents, I think that I could make an argument that this thing actually is good. But until then, man, yeah. Most things are making higher lows. This thing isn't even making a higher low yet. That's the crazy thing. But it will have divergence, so you could probably get a nice bounce play. I'd just be a little bit like, I would just be kind of cautious as long as this thing's below 63 cents. I think you're still dealing with a pretty nasty downtrend overall. I just see these things fail all the time, man. So yeah, we shall see. We shall see. All right, some sips of water, and then we shall get into some comments. Bernoulli says, few things worse than hairs in the mouth. Yeah, it's really, really bad. Really, really bad, actually. Head in the Cloud says TAIUSD. Okay, this is a new one as well. Tai, is this Tai Lopez's coin? I show Elsa all of these like internet people, like Tai Lopez's videos, and I ask her, do you think he's legit or not? She says always not legit. Can you imagine that? Not thinking Tai Lopez is legit? It's a fucking joke, in case you couldn't tell. I mean, I guess the hopium here is that you're working on a falling pizza. I don't think that means all that much, to be honest, as long as you're below last week's high. But if you can just even trade above last week's high, I think that this thing goes for a pretty decent rally towards 17 cents or so. Closing above 17 cents, you can extend that rally like another, I don't know, 20%, 30%. Let's see what else we got here. Light Forexes says HBAR weekly and monthly. Got it. HBAR. Okay. Yeah, another one that looks nearly identical to many things that we saw earlier today. It came back down to those April lows, which is what we were looking for on most of these things. Also to the 200 simple on the weekly time frame. I think generally you're going to bounce here. I think this one at least bounces up towards like close to 18 cents, let's say. But I need to see this thing really close above, 18.5 to 19 cents before I say, hey, this thing's got a decent rally on its hands. And at that point, I mean, you're probably looking at a quarter, maybe more. But, I'm still not a humongous fan of the plethora of charts that look something similar to this. Like, do they go up from here? They might go up from here. I just don't think they're going to be the big winners. I think if you're focusing on these things, I think you're missing the obvious winners, which are the new shit for this cycle. That's just me. What's up, Peter Underwood? Good morning to you, man. Nice one. How much Bitcoin you need to see you shave your pooper on stream crown? Well, I'll do it for free, to be honest. If you want to watch, I will do it for free. No problem. Elsa will hold the camera. I'd like to use my my beard trimmer for these sort of things. And well, if I sell them, it's going to, I can sell the hairs, of course. That's going to be expensive, but I'll take the video for free. Leanne M says, do you think we will get a blow off top like previous cycles? This one feels so different. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blow off top for this cycle. No. I'll explain why as well. I think that Bitcoin has fundamentally changed in terms of how it acts ever since it got an ETF. It has not been doing the blow off top. I mean, it depends what you consider a blow off top, but if you don't consider this a blow off top or this a blow off top, then I would say, yeah, that's probably about what you're going to get. Bitcoin trades like an ETF now, in my opinion. And I think anyone who spent any, small amount of time even looking at ETFs in traditional markets will probably attest to that notion as well. I don't think that we get blow off tops anymore because you're seeing a lot more of constructive behavior where you get these big moves up and then they consolidate for, 8 months of the year and they get another big move up. And that's what we've done now 3 times during this cycle. This first one over here in 2023 spent 6 months going sideways after a big move up, then resolved it, goes up big, and then goes sideways for another 7-8 months. And then more recently, we've been in the same 8-month range for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, working on month number 8 here. Yeah. I think that that's what we're getting from now on. I think that your upside volatility is going to be less, and I think your downside volatility is going to be less as well. So yeah. And also, we didn't ever really get a blow off top in the last cycle in 2021. This was, I would not consider this a blow off top. Yes, it's a pretty crazy move. Yeah, no doubt about that. But it's not the same thing as like what we got in 2017. This was a fucking blow off top. This over here, it was kind of like slow controlled demolition, it felt like. So yeah, that's just my opinion. Again, I can be master wrong on that, on that. Don't matter. It doesn't really matter to me at the end of the day because, for my coins, I'll just hold them anyways. Let's see. No yelling, please, or bonk. Yes, there you go. Yay, dildos, says typical anomaly. Yes, we need more dildos in our lives. That's really, really good. I'm going to Range Warrior says I'm going to short my relationship. Yeah, dump it. Thank you for that, Diggs. I appreciate that, man. I feel like I'm missing something here, but we'll continue to go down the down the list. K says Superverse USDT. Yes, just don't use the fucking all capitals, man. It's really annoying. Read the pinned message because it does drive us crazy. Anyway, Superverse here. Definitely not the best, definitely not the worst. It's holding up well above its all-time lows, so that puts it, a cut above almost everything else. Weekly time frame did come down to our 50-cent level from about a week or a couple weeks ago, and now having a pretty epic bounce from there on a higher low. Generally, I think that this one is somewhat on the better side. I do think that this rally does extend at least a little bit more towards 80 cents. That's going to be the first sort of major area of testing, if you will. If you do see rejection around 80 cents, I look at that as pretty bad. But for what it's worth right now, I think that there's some hopium or some reasonable hopium on these things. Like if these things are going to perform well and are going to have their moves, this would be the time for it. While I don't think that Bitcoin's going to get a blow off top, I think that the shitcoins will get a blow off top because, it's a different game. They don't have fucking ETFs and, they're very, very low market cap comparatively. So you can get blow off tops. But here's the most obvious play for something like Super. If you see Super back above the last quarter's high of 92.25 cents, this thing is gonna explode to the upside, that is. But until then, it's like, yeah, I think this rally extends a little bit more, but getting to 80 cents is not the same thing as getting back above 92.5 cents. It's still another 15% move. So yeah. Head in the Cloud says, why do you call all altcoins shitcoins? Do you not feel any have long-term value? I mean, if you've been in this market for even just more than one cycle, even like half of a cycle at this point, you haven't figured out that most altcoins are shitcoins. I don't know what to tell you, man. Just keep on buying. No kidding, man. Look, I call them shitcoins as a term of endearment. Yes, not all of them are shitcoins, but 99.999999999 repeating, of course, are shitcoins and literally have very little value, if at all. Think of it this way. Of legitimate businesses, so like real legitimate businesses, there is I believe about a 90% failure rate in less than 1 year of operation, meaning that if you start a new business today, like a real legitimate business, like you're trying to sell shirts or some shit, and you start it today, then within a year, there's a 90% probability that you will fail. That's for a legitimate business. Most shit coins are just made by some fucking neckbeard behind a computer with a little bit of technical know-how who knows very well how to use AI to create a very convincing white paper, which is effectively a marketing promotional page, and they will put out anything, say anything, and anyone here, most people here have no fucking clue how to actually interpret that because we don't even know how to look at the actual code of these things. Now, some of you guys do definitely know how to use that. So maybe you can verify if the project actually is legitimate. But even then, even for legitimate projects in the real world, they have a 90% failure rate in the first fucking year. And for crypto, you probably make that significantly higher because most of these things really, they're not intended to... Their intended success is to get you to believe that they are legitimate so that you invest in them and then you lose all your money and become a community member for free. enjoy your shitcoins. Look, if you've been in this market for even more than a couple of years, like, and you haven't figured out that most of these things are shitcoins, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn, man. Also, you should go get help, like, immediately, like a lot of help, actually. Yeah. Most alts will go to zero. I actually disagree with that. Most alts will trend towards zero, but not actually get towards zero. They just become irrelevant and no one gives a fuck. I mean, look, like, remember when Litecoin was, and here's also the thing. Shitcoins are shitcoins because they cannot beat Bitcoin over more than one cycle. They get their nice little pumps every cycle, but it's all down. And for almost anyone, for 99% of people, you're just better off buying and holding Bitcoin. And I say this as someone who's been looking at this market for a long time now and who's been an active trader for the most part, but now just realizing, look, for most people, just fucking buy and hold it. You're going to be fine. You don't need to make $1 million in order to be successful. It's okay. It's going to be fine. Just avoid shit like this. This is absolute fucking monstrosity in a chart format. I mean, just god awful, man. God fucking awful. Find me one shitcoin that has made new highs versus its Bitcoin pairing and higher lows and has held the new high as a low above the prior all-time high. If you can find that, okay, you found the fucking holy grail in terms of shitcoins. I'm sure one of them exists because there's millions of shitcoins in this market. I'm sure at least one exists, probably even a handful of them exist, but I don't know what they are. And for me, if I'm looking to invest in things long-term, I'm not going to invest in something that's just on a long-term trend towards zero, and especially long-term trend towards zero versus Bitcoin, because that's even, I mean, that's, that just is basically par for the course for most of these things. So yeah. They only need to survive for 1 year to make a fortune, says Peter Underwood. I mean, that is, that's basically the hopium for most people. And that's also why I say, look, if you're focusing on prior cycle shitcoins, you're a lobotomized moron, because there's plenty of information, plenty of history out there to show you that that is so unlikely to happen. Every once in a while, yes, it will happen, but it's so fucking unlikely to happen. You might as well gamble somewhere else because you are fucking gambling on that and the odds are heavily against you. Would you go to Vegas and play a game that has 99% odds against you, but 1% you could be, you know, I guess, I don't know, maybe make 100,000 or, you know, or $1 million, depending upon where you start from. I mean, even then, like those sort of plays, it's so difficult. It really is so difficult. You know, do you think that you're really going to buy the low and sell the exact high? No, you're not. I mean, because very few people, in fact, no one, almost no one does that. And you don't need to do that, to be fair, but for fuck's sake, you know, people look at like a very unrealistic scenario as something, as, you know, a very unrealistic scenario that has such a low probability of happening, and basing their whole financial world around that. And it's just, I mean, you're better off going to Vegas, man. You really are. At least you get fucking free drinks there and there's hookers and shit. Leanne says, RCL stock weekly, monthly. I entered in 2020. Okay. It's probably good. Well, 2020. I don't know if that's, depending upon when you entered in 2020, might have been a really good time. Yeah, really fucking good. I do want to say that on the monthly time frame, it is hitting this upward sloping trendline extension, or it's very close to there, maybe a little bit higher, like 330. So it's basically right there. Really strong though overall. I don't think that the rally is done. Yes, you probably got to pull back relatively soon. At some point, it's probably going to pull back close to 290-ish region, let's say. But I'm not bearish on this thing. I think that this thing continues upwards and onwards overall. You know, you don't even have bearish divergence relevant yet. At some point, yes, it will be in there. It is building, absolutely, but still, that's going to take multiple bars to play out. So, you know, in the meantime, you probably get a few new highs before then. Maybe it makes a move towards like 350 before it plays out like a big correction, something like that. I think could work out. Yeah, but to be honest, Leanne, look, I'm not your dad. I'm not your financial advisor or anything like this. If I was in your position and I bought down here at $30 and it's above $300, you just made a 10 fucking X. Like, take some off the table. Take some off the fucking table. You can take it off the fucking table. You don't have to close all of it, like maybe half of it, 30% of it, something, realize something. Like, that's a really fucking great investment trade. What the hell you want to call it? Really, really good. Really, really good. You traded phenomenally there. Tobo says Tesla daily, weekly, monthly. We already looked at this one, I think. I'm nearly positive of it. Can always just scroll back. Yeah, I don't have anything new to say on this one, man. If you're bullish, then that should be the low for this quarter. or definitely no lower than like 265. I think the daily time frame is actually the one to watch here. As long as you're above Tuesday's low, I actually do treat this one as having put in the next higher low. If you do come back down below Tuesday's low, this thing's going to correct to well below 300 bucks, probably towards 260, maybe even all the way down to 250. So yeah. All right, maybe some more agua here. CZ says SPX 6900. Sure.
Did you do the two before that?
Yes, I literally just did them, sir. Elsa not listening as usual. SPX 6900 acting better as one of the shitcoins for sure. Still, actually, this one is having one of the better responses. To be fair, can't shit on this one as much as I'd like to. Although you do have some hidden bearish divergence on the 5-day building. What about the 10-day? No. I don't know how much that actually matters because this one already had such a tremendous correction from 170 all the way down to 90 cents. I mean, it's 50% move. Like, you could say that one's already played out. Yeah, so if I'm looking at SPX 6900, I look at this one and I say, hey, this is probably a higher low. You got hidden bullish divergence and multiple drives coming off of this low. Just needs to finish the day here or higher. And yes, you do have confirmation of that hidden bullish divergence. At that point, you're probably looking back north of 150. Does it continue to new highs from there? I don't know. I'm very skeptical when I see something like this, like a literal fucking meme coin. But I do think the next short-term move can be to the upside for sure. Yeah, I think I'd refrain from saying anything else on top of that. And of course, you got a very natural invalidation here. Below yesterday's low on a daily closing basis, this thing's going to come down well below $1, 80 cents minimum. So yeah. Darian has a nice super chat, but no message. So I don't know what to say for that, sir. Yeah, and if you spam in the chat, you're going to get bonked. It just is what it is, man. I don't make the rules. Elsa made the rules. Eric Bjorn Beck, definitely Norwegian or maybe Swedish. I buy 25 billion of Elon. What? I think Dog Elon Mars. Oh, Dog Elon Mars might perform better than most things. Well, I will fall into the thinly veiled trap here. Let's see what Dog Elon. It's Norwegian. Yeah, sounds more. Do you think Norwegian people are better or Swedish people are better? You think Swedish? I would think Norwegian people are better. I think Swedish people are closeted. They're both better than Finns. That's very possible. This thing doesn't even fucking trade, man. Yeah. Not looking at much of a chart there. Ragagolf, Ganjadolf. Looking at hype chart. Sure, man. Still. Why would I tell that story? Who gives a fuck about that story? It's just a weird Finnish story. Maybe I'll tell it later. I don't think it's that important. Hype, I think that this one's very similar setup to one of the other ones that we just saw. You got that same hidden bullish divergence come off this low on low volatility. You got a very natural area of management on yesterday's low. As long as you're above there, it's better to be bullish. Below there, okay, this thing corrects back down to very low 30s, 31, 32. But for right now, let the trend be your friend. Let the momentum be your friend. And this is another good example of a new shitcoin that actually has a history of going up with Bitcoin, making you ultimize even in front of Bitcoin. So that's the kind of thing that's going to do well this cycle. Mexican Righteous says, my Norwegian for... What are you doing? Oh, Darian says, useless coin, please, sir. Okay, useless coin. That's most of these things, man. Very good. Another good example of a shitcoin that is the kind of one that you want to be playing on this cycle. I mean, look, it was born in May. It goes straight up. We like that. Yes, this is a crazy move. Yes, it's going to see a pretty swift and nasty correction at some point. Maybe that correction is even coming relatively soon. I mean, the daily RSI is already at fucking 93. I mean, that is absurdly high, but it is new. So, you can't expect those sort of things. The real question here is, does it make new highs before it corrects, or does it correct from here? I guess I'd have to be biased towards new highs as long as you're above 23 cents. Below 23 cents, I think you're in for a first major corrective phase, at least down to 18 cents. Probably tries for a bounce there, and I think things would come down further towards 14 or 15. But yeah, pretty crazy move, man. Tobo says, done Solana or SEI yet? Let's look at Solana. I think more people interested in Solana. Daily, weekly. Daily, again, you got that same potential for a higher low right here. Just needs to hold above yesterday's low. So as long as you're above yesterday's low, I think, you know, you can be biased towards the upside. Next sort of major obvious area of interest is going to be 165 to 166 to the upside. But that is where you'd kind of be expecting a rejection if this thing is going to reject. But assuming that you can actually, you know, just even trade and close above there on a daily time frame, I think that this thing gets a, you know, a decent ride up towards $200. Yeah, this one got close to its April lows. I was saying a little bit close to those April lows. It didn't get all the way down there, but in this case, close enough is close enough. Yeah, you still got this sort of falling channel as well. Does it resolve it here? Maybe. If it does, then yeah, I think you're looking at like 200 plus. But you know, it's going to be done on a weekly, so you got to still wait. And I'd really want to see the weekly like decently above 160 at least. But so far so good. You know, if you are more aggressive, I guess this could make sense here. But again, very obvious area of management on yesterday's low. Anywhere below yesterday's low, especially on a daily closing basis, this thing's going to come down, and I think it's going to come down hard, back down to June lows, maybe even lower. At that point, maybe I do get my April lows move. But seeing as so many other things have already hit that, you know, that same level, I have to think that you kind of have to look at this one as already having done that. Scott O'Brien says, greetings from Chicago. Fuck yeah, man. I used to live in Chicago. NIO weekly, monthly. Okay, I'm guessing this is a stonk. Hey, all good, man. Targeting to move to 545 TP1. You are a... You have balls of steel to long anything that looks like this, sir. What the fuck, man? You're treating this like a crypto here. Where exactly? Okay, so you're basically looking at around these range highs here, or these slew of highs from December of 2024. Look, man, every once in a while, yeah, you do get one of these one-off pumps. They all fail, though. I think you're playing a very difficult game. It's the same game that most people play with shitcoins, like, oh, it's low, so maybe it has another one of these bounces here. The long-term direction is down, obviously. Can you get your bounce? It might happen. It might not. That's a harder game to play. It's not my game. I have no idea. Do you have some good reasons to think that a bounce comes from here? Actually, kind of yes. The reason why I say this is because you do have monthly bullish divergence building up. Again, how much do I trust it on a chart that looks like this? Not much, man. Not much. But if you want technical reasons, I guess that would be it. On the other side, you are breaking this most recent price action pivot to the downside on a monthly closing basis. So I personally think any sort of move to 370 would be a sell, and this thing just continues on with this long-term macro downtrend, and you get your one-off pump later on. Who knows how high it goes at that point, man. But yeah, this is a chart only a mother could love. It's just fucking garbage, man. Again, I'm not calling you garbage. You're a great person. This chart, however, very, very bad. Very fucking bad. Very, 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 very bad. It looks like this. It looks exactly like this, in fact. Mr. Fingless Cave, what's up, man? Good to see you always. Really make me laugh. He is funny. Mr. Van Duysen is quite funny. Global Truth says, hi, bro. Can you set timestamps once finished, please? I mean, usually we do, but it takes some time. You know, these are very long live streams, and someone has to go through it themselves and figure everything out. So it's not so simple, but yeah, we try to do our best with that. Anyways, all good, Mr. Ben M. All good, sir. It's basically a crypto. Yeah, it really is the same chart of almost any crypto that you can look at. This would be the same chart as a crypto that you've seen since like 2021. Very, very similar for many of these things. The real G Squared says, what's up? Scary movie. Nice. Yes, I was also alive in the 90s. Hey, Crown, can you check out Deep on the daily? Yeah, actually, this one. It's from 2000. No, I think Scary Movie, like the first one was in 1998 or 1999, something like that. Yeah. Kind of an interesting one here. Oh, it was from 2000. Okay, fair enough. Whatever. My life has changed. Anyways, this thing, like, I can see why. I can see why a more optimistic person would look at this and be like, yeah, that's actually looks pretty good. You do have potential for a higher low here on the weekly. And it is a higher low as long as you're above last week's low. doesn't necessarily mean you're guaranteed to break out to the upside here, but I think most things are positioning for an extension of this upside try. So I would say this thing is probably in a better position than most. I think your next move is somewhere around 16 to 18 cents region. That's the next big test, so to speak. Basically back above 18 cents. I think that this thing does confirm the consolidation resolving to the upside, and you're probably going to see this thing, back deep inside the quarter region, maybe all the way up to 30 cents or so if that happens. But it all hinges upon its ability to remain above last week's low. So you could look at that as an invalidation. Yeah, cool. Crown's Balls says, "Hey, I heard my name through the zipper. I don't wear a zipper actually. I'm actually wearing. Usually I don't wear any pants during these streams, but right now I am." Not going to look at the hash ribbons. We looked at it earlier. It doesn't also matter. There's no real updates there. Ahmad Dada says, you skipped me. I don't. Elsa says you were spamming, so have to skip you because we hate that shit. It's really fucking annoying, man. We already looked at Estee Lauder. That was maybe like 10 minutes ago or so. I'm going to find something that we have not done yet. Let's see. I will continue to scroll. More scrolling here. More scrolling. Bitcoin is king, says Seth Shepard. In the crypto landscape, yes, indeed it is. There still has not been one that has overtaken it. Big Boy George says, "Cue the Cardano and XRP nerds. Don't get salty, you gaylords." Yeah, there is like one guy who's in love with Cardano, and like anytime I make a post on Twitter at all, it has nothing to do with Cardano because I never talk about Cardano. He always comments something like, "You fucking moron! You don't know that Cardano is about to go to the moon." Like Jesus Christ, man! I can see that you're very confident in your expectations. Like, jeez, it's like whenever I see him, it's like I play this GIF in my mind, like fucking psycho. Jesus Christ, man. See, that's the problem with the internet, man. That's the problem with the internet. Anyone can go on the internet and post shit. Even fucking literal crazy people. Whiskey Bravo says, Tron, please, sir. Yeah, Tron was one of the weird ones that was actually looking much different than most things for the past like couple months, and it still does. Again, this weekly time frame right here, we got a higher low. So as long as it's above last week's low, I would treat it as bullish and more likely to at least test 30 cents to maybe, about 30 cents. I mean, overall, like this chart is much better than almost every other shitcoin, which is kind of crazy. But again, hinges upon its ability to remain above last week's low. Below last week's low, this thing's going to go on for a big correction, I imagine, towards 24, 25 cents region. Could you please talk more trash about Richard Hart need price to go up more? I don't think it works like that, man. Let's see. Can I talk? Oh, so this guy is trying to he's trying to do a gotcha on me. Yeah. So I've actually don't talk shit about Richard Hart. I just give my opinion on the chart here. I don't know if the effect that you're looking for is happening here, Sir Derpington. It's literally down only since I called a top in 2021, and it is still down 36%. Congratulations, you fell into the most obvious fucking scam of all time, you fucking moron. Sorry. There we go. Now I've just initiated the Hex hate clan. God, man. Well, most of the Hexicans I think gave up, but the ones that are still around, those are like the true believers, like the real ardent fucking zealots out there. It's like they think that their purpose in life is to just repeat like fucking zombies whatever the hell Richard Hart says. Like, holy shit, man. Jesus fucking Christ. Maybe let's look at Pulse Chain. Is Pulse Chain doing anything? Amazing. It's going up so much. Seth Shepard says, my main question is where will Bitcoin price ultimately bottom this time? Sir, it hasn't even fucking topped yet. Like, first off, it's hard enough to even predict where a top is. I mean, for fuck's sake, man. Like, maybe get a top first, then we can talk about bottoms. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Do you? The real G squared says XMR BTC any time frame. All right, let's see what this one's doing. I guess we go to CoinEx or something. Yeah, versus Bitcoin, absolutely terrible. Versus the US dollar, I think it was actually okay last I looked at it. I forget. It's a while ago. But Yeah, this is my point, man. This is even this when I first came into this market, Monero was considered like one of the more legitimate coins, let's say. Yeah, I mean, versus Bitcoin, it ain't shit. It ain't shit. That's just the unfortunate reality for 99.99% of things in this market. Let's look at Hex versus Bitcoin. I'm sure that one's doing great, right? Can't even do it. TradingView doesn't even have it, so you know it's a great pair. CZ says BVol 7 days. So this is Bitcoin's. Yes, I literally just did it, but you don't pay attention. Also not paying attention again. If anyone wants her job, it's going to be open very soon. You're fired. Yeah, so volatility, as we already kind of know, is very much down. Even on the monthly, we are approaching multi-year lows. Wow. We have seen it lower before, though. Back in summer of 2023, it was lower. Before that, January of 2023, also lower, coming off of the 2022 market cycle lows. July of 2020, so the summer of the 2021 or preceding the 2021 bull market, very, very low. Before that, you got October 2018, November 2018, so that was very, very low before Bitcoin put in the low for that cycle. Yeah, and it looks like it wants to go lower here. So I think, again, summer's going to generally be more boring. Yeah, fair enough. Pretty crazy, man. I'm glad you brought this chart up. I actually haven't looked at this in a long time. I'm going to add this one to my list. Yeah, back in the day when we used to primarily chart on BitMexico. Crazy times, man. Crazy times. Monero? That's a myth. I'm looking for Girl Nero. Is the price pumping because Diddy is getting out of prison? Is he actually getting out of prison? Well, I mean, he's the real victim in this case anyways. They're just trying to put it down on another successful black man. I don't like that. We should be raising him up. We should be honest. We should be honoring him. Business is booming. Has a super chat, but not a message. I'll wait for the message to be posted. We already looked at Dogecoin, actually very early on within the stream as well. I wonder if who falls for people who make comments like Soundwave. Like, is that just not the most obvious either bot or just copy paste scam comment to like hopefully make my shitcoin go up? I think that's what the real purpose is, or maybe it's designed to look as as obviously scammy as possible, so that they only get the dumbest people. I think that that's a very common marketing strategy. Maybe even for some coins that we've talked about earlier today, perhaps. I mean, you can only guess what that might be. All right, let's look at MogCoin. Let's look at MogCoin. This one used to be very popular as well. It's a fucking garbage coin, sir. I mean, I'm just going to tell you, like, look, it probably goes up a little bit here. This is garbage, though, man. Garbage. I think best case scenario in the cycle, it might get back around wherever my cursor is right now. And that's like best case scenario anyways. You don't, like, why fucking hold these early cycle shit coins? Like, they've already had their run. They've already had their things. Now it's just a bunch of holders over here who've turned into community members who are waiting just to get out at break even. Dump on your fucking face. Crown, what do you think the price action will be over the summer? I think we actually will see new highs, but it's going to be still very, very boring, very, very sort of grindy price action. I think the fireworks are going to be around like September-ish. Give or take a little bit from that from that place. Let's see. Okay, I feel like I missed something over here. I want to be your fleshlight, sir. Well, only my mom can be that. Fucking terrible thing to say. Look, my mom cleans my fleshlight. She doesn't act as my fleshlight. Okay, that's disgusting. That's gross. Let's see. John, you says, hey, Crown, could you have a quick look at Plume? Been buying around 8 cents, took profit at 12 cents. I mean, it's a really good trade, man. Profited 50% there. It's really fucking good. I don't like it though, man. I really don't like these things that have these very steep drop-offs. While most things in this market were going sideways or up, especially Bitcoin. can it extend this run a little bit more? Maybe it tries back around 12 cents, perhaps yes. But I think you got the meat of this move. If it goes on for more, dude, like I would just let it go. I would just let it go. Again, I'm not trying to be your dad here or your financial advisor, but if I was in that position, I would say, hey, I think you got a really fucking good trade here. You got a quick 50%. You might get another try at around 12 cents. I think going for anything more than that is greed, and you're going for a lower probability thing, obviously. Mario Mangione says, moms are just girlfriends that give better hand jobs. Well, they have obviously more experience with such things, so what would you expect? Scott O'Brien says, so many people want to talk to me about XRP when they find out I'm in the crypto space. Oh yeah, 100%, man. Every cycle when things get heated up again, and people, that I used to know back in college hit me up and say like, hey, what do you think about that crypto thing? I know you've got the channel. They always ask about XRP, man. They always ask about XRP, but I think that just goes to show that XRP has one of the best marketing campaigns. They always quote like XRP, banks. They have contracts with banks, something like that, man. Business is booming. It's looking at XCN BTC. XCN BTC. Whoops, I derped it. All right, down. Very bad. Very, very bad. Holy shit, fucking bad, man. Holy goddamn. About as bad as it gets, man. This is the problem when you try to outpace Bitcoin, especially over multiple cycles. This thing can't even do it for one cycle. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing just sells off more from here. Look, it's bearish as fuck. Whether you get another pump out of nowhere or not, I don't know. It might pump back up to 21,000 Satoshis or something. I don't fucking know. But what I can say is, and what I have a very, very strong opinion on, is that whatever pump you get is going to be much less than whatever the most recent lower high you got, which is all the way up here at 35,000 Satoshis. And the next move is just generally going to be down and to the right. This is garbage. It's garbage versus Bitcoin. But look, I get it. It's going to be the new backbone of the financial industry or something like this. And I will regret it. That's right. Alex Becker says, it's alt season, bro. I have to respectfully disagree. I think that there are some really good alts right now, but if you're just looking at alt season as every alt goes up, that clearly has not been the case for multiple years, actually. Moving averages looks like a fucking water slide. Whee! Oh, fuck! Else has been looking at all the water slides in the States. Look, I don't hate Alex Becker or anything like this. I don't really know him, to be honest. I'm friends with some people who are friends with him, and they all have really, really good things to say about him. But if you're just asking my opinion about whether it's all season or not, I don't think so. But also, I don't think that even he really believes so, because he understands something about social media that is really, really powerful, but I'm too afraid to do myself, which is you can just say whatever you want. and at some point it will be true, and then you can claim victory for that. And fair enough, if that's the game, that's the game. But he is one of the OG social media influencers, and actually respect him a lot, to be honest. Scott O'Brien says, good to remember your down 90% shitcoin can always go down another 90%. Yes, it's very true. It can go down even 99% after it goes down 99%. That's crazy. I love a good water slide. Best against Bitcoin is NASDAQ. Let's see. So BTC, NDX, whoops. No, Bitcoin's still killing NASDAQ, but yeah, look, it's too hard for something like NASDAQ, which has, a significantly higher market cap than Bitcoin, to keep pace with the moves that Bitcoin's capable of doing. So, yeah. Why, how says, hey, Crown, if you look at monthly statistics of Bitcoin in September, the median is 435, so hard to see a new all-time high there. That's actually incorrect. And I do have oh man, should I go into like complete fucking nerd mode? Because I can fuck you up right now, sir. That's 100% wrong. Yeah. What people get wrong about September actually is that for the first couple weeks of September, it actually usually is down. It usually is bearish. The second half of September, however, is usually bullish. and the returns for it are actually not bad. I want to go over that in like a dedicated video though. I don't want to spoil it on a stream like this. But yeah, you realize also there's like multiple months in before September, so Bitcoin can, do something before then. And also, look, if I'm wrong about high in September, I mean, Bitcoin can still put a new high in September, and yeah, like what? No. This is a silly assumption. Like that doesn't. These two things are not mutually exclusive. Yeah. No one remembers Luna down 99%, and then another 99%, and then another 99%. Yeah, man. In fact, I completely forgot that thing even existed here. Yeah. A lot of people thought that they're getting a really good deal on the way down, from $120 to 15 cents. Jesus. Well, it's certainly going to bounce, right? I mean, even Luna bounces like this. Like this was your November, December bounce. Again, it means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but yeah. People look at that and they're like, holy shit, it's fucking turning around. I knew it. I'm genius. I'm a fucking genius. Yeah. What else do we have? Can you look at Cadena, says Wesley Rivera? Sure. We'll probably shut it off relatively soon, but let's check this one out. Cadena. This one used to be popular. I don't think it is anymore because it does what most shitcoins do, which is go down. Yeah, it was popular way back here in 2022. Yeah, very bad, man. Again, if you're looking for a bounce here, you're playing the same game as most shitcoins. Like every once in a while you get one of these epic bounces. They're always lower highs. They always fail, but yeah, they do happen. Is it going to happen here? I don't know. That's a different game. Again, I think it's a game where the probabilities are naturally against you, and might as well just go to fucking Vegas. Finding any investable asset that has higher returns than Bitcoin is a challenge, to say the least. I mean, I'm sure you can find like a random shitcoin that will, but here's the thing, man, is that, Bitcoin, when it debuted, it was like less than a cent. So it was like as pure as possible. Whereas, when a stock debuts, it's already, generally a pretty big market cap. So you're comparing two things that like really are not apples to apples. It's more like apples to oranges. It'd probably be fairer to compare Bitcoin over the past 10 years, I would say. And if that comparison is makes sense, then, or sorry, that time frame makes a lot more sense as a comparison. And maybe you might find something that's, at least closer. It's still going to be hard to outpace it. I mean, still up just so many X's. So yeah. Fair enough. Let's see. I feel like I missed something here. You want to look at Fartcoin versus Bitcoin. I mean, in its first cycle, it's possible that it will outpace Bitcoin. That is very possible. Let's see. And Fartcoin has had a pretty good first cycle. So, apparently we can't chart them against each other. So, well, it actually would be very, very possible that Fartcoin actually is beating Bitcoin during this cycle. But if we extend that out to another cycle, then I imagine it would be not so much. The Fabulous Not just says, hey, Crown, what's your opinion on the Bitcoin treasury companies popping up left and right? I think that's like just the next... Okay, so every cycle there is sort of like a golden sector, which is basically alt season, and there's very few things outside of that sector that actually do get major rallies. In 2017, it was ICOs. In 2020, it was DeFi. In 2021, it was NFTs. In 2024, it was memes and AI. And I think Bitcoin treasury companies are going to be 2025's hot sector. And you're just going to see companies start to do it because they realize that if you do it, your stock price goes up a lot. And these sort of things have been abused a lot in the past, and typically it ends with tiers. But some of them are going to be super successful. I think the ones that are probably already doing this thing. But I think you're just going to see more and more of these companies do it as a way to kind of prop up their stock price. Yeah, man. I do think it also introduces some more structural risk to the Bitcoin market, just because you have all of these things that are so interrelated now, and so moves will be multiplied. Volatility will be dampened at first, but at some point something might break, and then you might get like just a total multiplier effect from all of these things being interrelated. So that to me could be a real attack vector for someone to bring down Bitcoin price like a lot. I was talking about it earlier with one of my friends, looking at the MicroStrategy offerings for fixed income like Strike, Strife, and Stride, and in my opinion, these, I think they're a double-edged sword. I really do, because now MicroStrategy has even more debt obligations to pay off, which introduces more attack vectors. Yes, they are variable capitalized, but we just don't know what we don't know. Like, we don't know what we don't fucking know. And so with more and more variables, there is more and more potential for, a black swan event or something like this. So yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, when you introduce these sort of things, there can be consequences for sure. I heard a treasury company is a way of dumping crypto without fucking up the price. I don't see how that would work, because, if a company is buying it, then, they're buying it. They're not selling it. That's the whole point. At some point, they probably do sell. A lot of these companies will. So yeah. All right. Anyways, I think we're at the bottom of these comments now. I think that's a good place to maybe leaving off on this stream. It's been a really, really fun stream. We'll do at least one next week, maybe even two next week, maybe like Tuesday, Friday again. But for now, I think that's good. And I just want to say a massive thank you for everyone joining in. It was some fun time, some fun conversations. As always, I really enjoy doing these, and I'm looking forward to doing more. I'm really, really looking forward to bringing back the streams in a big way. I think it's going to happen near the end of this summer, but we'll see what timing does allow for. Other than that, I just want to say, again, a massive thank you for joining in.